Howdy, folks. Welcome back to Melanchthon Creek Farm. We're out here on this Sunday evening in the garden doing some maintenance. We noticed some things that kind of got away from us the several days that we were gone. So we're out here this evening. First thing we're going to do is we're going to stake up these pepper plants. Now, I know a lot of people probably don't stake them up, and this soil is so soft. I believe that's one reason we're having uh, this, if you want to call it an issue. I don't necessarily call it an issue, but because we can resolve it pretty quickly, we're going to just put a stake right down in here. Um, these stakes here, we got them off of Amazon. They're got a metal core inside, and they've got this uh, plastic on the outside of them. Bought them for a different reason, but I believe this is what they're made for here. But this is what we're going to be using them for right now. So we're just going to place them right down on the ground, and I got these uh, rubber coated wires here that we use. That's what we've been tying up all of our zucchini and our squash with, and that's what we're going to use for these pepper plants. So we're gonna tie this one up here. All right, there's one. And we're gonna do this one here. This one here's got at least two pickers. Might ought to try to get them on off, because they're one reason they're kind of weighted down so much. Set that there. We got one more right here. Something got into that in a little bit. Something been munching on it a little bit. That one's probably about ready. Let's go ahead and get that one too. Ain't quite as heavy. Alrighty. Find a good place to tie this one up. The good thing about this wire here, it's got that rubber coating on it that doesn't cut into the plant, the stalk of the plant there. I noticed when I got away from the camera that you couldn't quite hear me as good. And I don't like hollering. So I got me one of those cheapo wireless mics that they sell on Amazon. It was like 15 bucks. And I figured, well, it had about 4.5 on the reviews, and I figured we'll go ahead and try that out, see how it works, and it seems to be doing real well. I noticed on the last video that I used it, I could tell a difference in the sound quality. I didn't really get far away from the camera, but I could tell a difference. Let's move on to the other side over here. These two here aren't quite leaning as bad, but I'm still going to stake these up. Let's get it right there. Put her here. Put her down there. Two of these stakes I already am repurposing from the zucchini that we're fixing to look at over there, that we were going to pull up. Bugs had done got in them. I noticed a ton of squash bugs in one of them. That ought to do it for now. Go over here and look at our zucchini plants. Now, we're going to pull these up and we're going to throw them directly into the woods, because you can probably see them there. They're in the nymph stage. That light gray colored bug right there. You can see them here, there, and there. We're going to have to pull this one up and throw it in the woods. You can see how many of them's in there. I know a lot of people have a lot of issues with the vine borers, but I seem to have more issue with the squash bugs than I do the borers. Now, I do have some borers, but it seems to me that these squash bugs infest my plants more than the borers do. I'll pull this rascal on up, hoping that most of these stay on there. Try not to spread them too much than we have to. Hardly any bugs on this one at all. I do see some eggs though. Oh, there's a bunch of little nymphs that just hatched right there. We're gonna go ahead and just dispatch them right quick. We're gonna ease this one up out of the ground just to make sure if there's anything in the around the base in the dirt, we get those with them. All right, go throw this one in the woods. Let's see how the dirt looks here. Make sure we don't have anything trying to hide from us. You see how soft this is, folks. That's what you want. You don't want compacted soil in your garden. All right. And since we're right here at this one, we're going to do some pruning here. There's a big old ant. There's a couple right there we're going to get rid of. Now, I've heard folks say that you shouldn't squash these squash bugs. It's kind of like a stink bug, same family. And they give off that odor when they're in distress. Well, for me, that's a reason to squash them. Because they're giving off that odor, letting other ones know, hey, something's happening here. Y'all don't come over here. Y'all need to stay away. So, to me, I say squash them. Folks, we decided to go ahead and pull up this zucchini. It's covered in squash bugs. You can see them here. Bunch of eggs. There's several different spots there full of eggs. But it would have probably held on for another few weeks, but we're going to go ahead and pull it. It's just too many squash bugs here to have to deal with. So we're going to get rid of this as well. I did think about doing a late season planting of squash and zucchini. Here in central North Carolina, our first frost usually isn't till the middle of October. So I did think about doing another planting of squash and zucchini. We have our new raised beds built, and we're prepping them for the fall garden. We've got some more updates that we're going to do to our current raised beds, not these here around the greenhouse, but those that the beans and the corn and the okras in. We're going to change those to 4-foot beds, just like the new ones we built. So, I did think about it, but I don't want to go right back in these beds with another succession planting of squash and zucchini. I want to do a crop rotation, especially next fall. Look at the root system on that thing, folks. Good gracious. I mean, that ain't some good soil there. things growing in. So, like I said, I don't want to go right back in these beds with another planting of squash and zucchini. So we're going to do a crop rotation, especially this fall. We're going to go back with something in this bed this fall. So again, we won't be doing a late season planting. Something we may consider next year as we've expanded the garden to include more areas to grow. So our next task that we're going to be doing this evening is our leaning pole beans. And no, that's not a type of bean that you grow. That's just what happened to our pole, or our trellis, which is just a fence section here that we used for our pole beans to climb on. And I know the storm probably had a little something to do with them blowing over, but with all the rain and the continued growth, they just continued to grow so much on the top side that it just started leaning. So I've got some old cedar fence posts here. They're about 7 foot long, and I'm going to just brace these up along here for the time being until I can get a more permanent solution. But for now, this is what we're going to do. After I get this done, we got to get out here and pick these things. There are a ton on this thing. I haven't picked any off of this one since it started growing back. I did pick some off of the rattlesnake beans. But I haven't picked any off of the greasy beans yet. So we're going to get out here and pick a mess of these. I believe that'll help. If I don't push too far on this side and cause it to start falling over on this side. But the way these beans started growing, they all grew that way, fell off the top, and my rebar that I used for bracing only stopped probably a quarter of the way short. So if we do this again next year, we're going to have to get longer bracing that'll go up the whole height and stick out a little. Or I may do a rope trellis like our friend over at Deep River Farm. He's got a good system over there. It works real well for him. And we may go to something like that next year. But again, like I said, we're going to be redoing these beds. And right now they're about 25 inches, but maybe 2 foot wide with about 30-foot sections in the middle. It was just enough to get my push mower down in between them. But we're going to go with 4-foot beds for next year. So we'll be redoing all 4 of these. We're going to lose a bed, but with the added width, we're going to come out better. We'll have a lot more ability to be able to plant on both sides of the bed instead of kind of down the middle as I did this year. All right, folks, well, we're back around over here at the squash, but we're going to prune this thing up a little bit, do some inspecting on it. Probably not going to stake it up any higher than what it already is. We're probably just going to let it grow there. We're going to take a look at this in here. We'll go ahead and get rid of that one. A lot of folks say you want to at least leave a dozen or so leaves on there. Probably about all we're going to do on this one. Got one more there. I gotta find that squash bug. There it is right there. Come here. We're gonna move on over to this one here. Trying to figure out a good place to start. Again, you see how much the vine has growed up and now started back down here. We're going to prune all these back down to that first squash down there. By pruning them, also, it opens up and lets more airflow in here. These squash bugs do not like open air. They like dark, damp areas, and that's why they're always congregating underneath the leaves, down around the bases of the plants when they come up out of the ground. So by doing the pruning, you're also helping in deter the squash bugs from making this a habitable plant for them. I'll need to get over here and take care of this lettuce that's gone to seed. Spinach is still doing real good. Finally getting some of the fruit. The berries here are starting to turn purple and black, and once they dry out, that's where your seed comes from. That's where we'll harvest our heirloom seeds for planting next year. But we still got a lot further to go before we're ready to harvest any of the spinach. Even though we are planting a winter spinach this fall, we're still going to let this grow as long as it wants to grow. We got a couple on this one that looks pretty good. They're about ready. We're going to let them go one more day. I could probably stake this one up one more time, and that's what I'm going to do. And this one was probably planted a good month after the first planting. We're hoping it'll hang out for a while. Continue to put out some squash for us. You see how that was all bent over from being laid down. But here in the next few days, these leaves are gonna flip over, and we're probably gonna tie it up one more time after that. But by doing this, I can inspect underneath the leaves real good, and I can tell that there's no eggs on any of these leaves. Now next, we're going to move over here to our okra. All right, folks, we got a mess of okra to pick here. Some of these probably have gone a little too far. That one's perfect. This one may be a little tough. You take that inside, and once you lay the knife to it and start slicing it up, you'll instantly know If it's too big, it'll be tough. Be tough to cut into. Just like this one. Now, I guarantee you that one's gonna be tough. There's one right there. That one's perfect. One there's perfect. All right, folks, I believe that's going to do it. Looks like we've got probably 2 dozen, and that's a good start on a mess for us to pickle. And let me take you in here. I want you to see these okra stalks and how these things are growing. So look at these things now. Some of these things look like tree trunks. Look how they're growing. That's that one that kind of fell over on me. I'm gonna have to doctor that in a little bit, but look how big them things are growing. I mean, it looks like a base of a tree down there. And stalks coming off. Branches. These are some healthy okra plants. And we're looking forward to a lot more harvesting on these. The okra will run up until frost, every bit of the first frost, if not past it, I've seen sometimes. So now let's take a look at our watermelons. And this one here is the one we're looking at. It's still got some white on the bottom of it. That tendril is right there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's dead all the way back. And I've got the stem that's starting to die off as well. Not quite fully shaped right, and that's due to the inconsistency of the water. We had that drought for, gracious, probably 8 weeks, and then we had a lot of water, and the temperatures are still up, but the way it's growed, a lot of these are gourd shaped. So we're going to let that stay for a few more days and see if it'll ripen up a little bit more. Take you over here and look at these. You can see the difference in the color. Now that one's pretty much whitewashed. The tendril's dead. And now it looks like it's ready. It's still got a little white on it. This one, the tendril's not all the way died off. It's still got green on it. We're gonna leave this, and hopefully it'll ripen up. You see these others over here as well. They're bleached out. You see how that one's growing like a gourd. With this one and that one. None of those are ready. We're gonna check on these cantaloupe right here. That looks like it's almost ready. We're gonna check this one out. Take that vine stem right there, put a little pressure on it. It ain't ready. It done popped off if it was ready. Let's take a look at these over here. See how they look. Well, that there's done split open. Let me get that off. It's full of ants. But yeah, see how easy that thing popped off? Unfortunately, that ain't gonna be any good. We're gonna put that off the side. We got somewhere to go with that, and that there just fell off. And that there's already fell off. It's full of ants. But we got somewhere to go with them. And let's check on this one here. See how that one looks. Don't look like it's quite ready. It's still got quite a bit of green on it. Yeah, that one's not ready. So we got at least 2 fixing to come on in the next week or so. That one will be falling off real soon. And then the new growth down here, we've got several growing as well. So we still got to get our green beans picked, and we're going to get on those here directly. But I appreciate you joining us here at Melanchthon Creek Farm here on this Sunday evening in the garden. And we'll see you next time. Y'all take care.